Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the City Update. I'm your host Mark Aaron, Multimedia Design Manager for the City of Danville. Today we're in the heart of the River District on Main Street, and behind me one of the new revitalization projects that has recently been completed right here in the River District. It is the historic Ferell Lofts. There are 13 loft apartments here with actually 2 retail spaces on the street level. On today's show we're going to talk with Patrick Riley, who is a co-owner and is with Rehab Builders, the company that did all the rehab work on the structures. Many of you have traveled up and down Main Street over the years, have seen the old Ferrell building and the disrepair that it was in just 12 months ago. Well, you will not believe your eyes as we show you these new lofts right here in the River District. They've done a wonderful job with the revitalization of this building. Today's show will show you 2 lofts. We'll talk with Patrick a little bit more about this project, and I know you're really going to enjoy seeing these. We think it's going to dovetail great with all the other revitalization efforts that are taking place in the district. We want people to live, work, and play right here in the River District, and this project is hopefully going to spearhead those efforts. They've already leased 4 of these lofts already of the 13 that are now available. And so the public likes what they see, and that shows you that there's a market for this type of residential structures here in the River District. So let's take. We've made it inside the Ferell Lofts now. Joining me now is Patrick Riley, who is the co-owner and also project manager. Now tell me, Patrick, a little bit about this project. What really piqued your interest in the Ferell Lofts?
Sure. Well, obviously Danville has a wonderful downtown feel and appeal to it. We had been up here doing a couple other projects over the years for some other developers that Rehab Builders was the design build general contractor for, and that was what initially got us excited about Danville. Okay, great. The Ferell building was introduced to us by our good friend and realtor for the property, Susan Stillwell. Okay. And it was just a natural fit for apartments. Now tell me, you said you've done some other projects here in our community. Can you touch on those for our viewers who may not be familiar with some of the other work you've done in the community? Absolutely. Rehab Builders did the Lynn Street Lofts for Landmark Asset Services. We also did the Schofield and Westmoreland School rehabilitations. Oh, great job over there. I think we took our viewers on a tour of that a couple of years back. So how are things going with those projects? Everything going well? I believe they're going well. That's run by another developer and owner. So I haven't heard of anything too out of ordinary. Y'all did a great job on them. I know when we took the tour, very good job. And you've done another great job here at the Ferell Lofts. And I know for many of our viewers may remember this building. It was a blighted property here in the heart of the River District, right here on Main Street, and you definitely wouldn't know it from looking at it today. Tell me a little bit about this project, when it began, and how long have you all been working on rehabbing this building? Sure. We initially got interested in this property in May of 2010. The building itself, we knew it was going to be a fabulous product at the end, once we completed it. I mean, because we've done literally scores and scores of buildings just like this. Okay. Some of the issues that we were trying to overcome before we started the project where there was a financial gap that needed to be closed, and we identified that gap, and the City of Danville assisted us financially with closing that gap. We wouldn't be here without the support of the City of Danville. There's no question about it. Another issue that was definitely a key obstacle to be overcome is we wanted to make sure there was dedicated on-site parking for the tenants of this building. And we were able to work with people that own the parking lot behind the building and buy a parcel of land from them. Okay, so there is a dedicated on-site parking lot for this building. Oh, that's great. And I know the tenants will love that, being able to walk right to their front doorstep almost, basically, right? Yeah, so when we those issues took a while to get over. We got them all worked out and bought the building in December of 2010. Okay. And then we basically went right into construction in January. I got to give hats off to our construction crew out here, because due to the process that you need to follow to go through getting everything in order for the historic tax credits and getting everybody on the same page, we could not allow our crew to be turned loose and really start completely building the interior of the building out until we had those approvals signed off on and everybody was in agreement. So basically, we did the vast majority of this construction. I should say they did the vast majority of this construction work in about 6.5 months. Wow, that's unbelievable when you really look at the scope of work that they've done over that time frame. Yeah, it was an amazing job. Tell me a little bit about the condition of this building when you first saw the property. I know many of our viewers have driven up Main Street in years past and seen
the condition of this building. Tell me a little bit about when you saw it. I'm sure you saw something a little different when you looked at it the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. We look at so many of these buildings all the time, and what most people see is not what we see. Exactly right. I mean, when you first looked at this building, the storefront was ripped off it. There was that wooden covering over the sidewalk. You know, it did not look over appealing for a Main Street building to appear to be. Yeah. However, we knew that once we took that sidewalk covering down, rebuilt the storefront, pointed up the brick on the front, and basically just spruced up the building, that it would look fabulous. Now, there was a lot of structural stabilization that had to be done to this project, and that was challenging work, but that's another thing that we're very accustomed to doing. And we knew that the units would be fantastic when they were complete, with the high ceilings and accentuating all the natural, historical, architectural character that was already in this building. Was going to just make it a fantastic project.
And you talk about that character, because we were talking before we went on camera, I think it was built in the 1800s?
It was built between the years of 1877, and 1886 by a tobacconist whose name I believe was W.H. Ferrell. And it's been, as many people in Danville I'm sure know, that it's in their lifetime it's been several different things. Nightclub, there's a big safe down on the first floor. I don't know if there was a banking operation here going at one time.
If these walls could talk, right?
If these walls could talk, I'm sure they'd have a lot of good stories to tell.
Well, we're actually in one of the lofts here today. So tell me where we are in the project. I know we were talking before we went on camera. They're leasing very quickly. So obviously you've done a great job. The people in Danville are interested in property like this. Tell me the room we're standing in. Is this a general layout for most of the rooms here? And how many do you have for lease?
Sure. We're standing in unit, I believe, 204, which is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath flat on the second floor from street level of the building. There's a total of 13 units here, and there's the maximum. There's only the maximum number of units that are the same as there's one. So if you have a unit, there's only one other unit like it in the building, and a lot of units are totally unique.
Great.
There's a lot of variety in here, which I think helps add to the natural historical character of the building. As I said, there's 13 units. We've rented up about 4 of them right now. The interest has been really incredible, and we're very hopeful that we'll have the rest of them rented up in the not too distant future.
Now talk about a little of the layout. How many 1-bedroom, 2 bedrooms? What do we have?
Sure. There's 8 2-bedrooms, and I believe that 3 of those are flats and 5 are townhouses. And by townhouse we mean they're 2-level units. So sometimes you might walk in and the bedrooms are downstairs and your kitchen and living area is up. Sometimes it's vice versa. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of different varieties. So I believe there's 5 townhouses, 3 2-bedroom flats, 3 1-bedroom flats, and 2 studio efficiency units.
Now, how much are these leasing for? Because I know you get a pretty good deal with your utilities, cable, everything included.
Sure. The range for the rents, the lowest for an efficiency at the garden level or basement level is $715 a month, I believe, and the highest rent that we're commanding right now, or that we've gotten so far, is $1,375 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit. That's actually the exact image of this one. It's just right above it.
And you can see here you've incorporated some of the old character, obviously, with all the new amenities, and that's something you all really focus on when you're rehabbing these buildings.
Absolutely. We really try to let the building be what it wants to be. We want to maintain as much historic character and fabric of the building as is humanly possible. And we try to make sure that any material that we might have to move out of a certain area of the building, we can put it back into another area of the building if we can use it somewhere. And we also don't want to try to replicate and make things look like they were necessarily historic. Like when you walk through here, you'll see the front door of this unit, that's a historic door. The back, like all the rest of these doors over here, those are new doors, and you can tell they're new doors. We're not trying to make those doors that we're putting in look new. We want it to be differentiated from the old doors that we've left here. Same thing with this kitchen. These are obviously very new, all new cabinets, brand new stainless steel appliances. But we did have some heart pine lumber that we're able to use right here for this bar top, so it gives a nice contrast between the mosaic backsplash tile, and then you have the heart pine bar top.
And I see you've got your jack for your iPod there, which
Yeah.
is of course a nice amenity there. So, and it looks like you have speakers throughout. Is
Yep.
that audio speakers built in throughout? Very
Yes,
good.
all the units are wired for surround sound speakers, and
Great.
as you mentioned, if you have an iPod or iPhone or anything Apple that's compatible with Apple, you just plug it right into that port, and you got all your music right at your fingertips.
That's great. Now, I know you had an open house here recently. Tell me a little bit about the feedback you've gotten from residents here in the community. Obviously, you've already leased for the 13th, so word's getting out, but what's the feedback you've gotten so far?
The feedback we've gotten so far has been overwhelmingly positive. I think a lot of people in the community are proud to see this building coming back to life. It's gone from being a blight on Main Street to really one of the anchors or gems of the Main Street area. I think overall everybody that spoke with me was overwhelmingly positive about what they've seen here, and obviously a few minor suggestions that people made or questions that asked, we do listen to those, and we're going to keep them in mind for when we do another project, because there's always room for improvement on these type of projects.
And we talked about the space, the living area, but you also have some retail space here as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. We have two smaller street level commercial spaces.
Okay.
One of the spaces is 950 square feet approximately, and that is on the left side if you were facing the building from Main Street. The other one is a smaller space. It's about 375 square feet. It would be nice for like a small office. We actually framed a doorway in the wall in between, so if somebody wanted both spaces, we could cut a door and you could have access to both spaces through that door.
Great. Very good. Well, hopefully those will lease out pretty soon as well. And what I'd like to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back from break, maybe you can just show us around a couple of the units here. And if somebody's interested in one of these lofts, who do they need to contact?
They need to contact Susan Stillwell at the Prudential Masco Real Estate Office, and unfortunately I don't have her phone number.
We can get it,
memorized.
and we've got it on the screen now, so they can give her a call if they're interested in any of the properties we're showing here today. And Patrick, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Again, great job on the project. Of course, you involved in the Schoolfield, Westmoreland, and also the Lynn Streets, and we've seen what a great job you've done on those properties. And once again and again, and we appreciate you all investing in the River District, and we think it'll definitely make a difference here in our community and get some more foot traffic down here and some more residential spaces. So we really appreciate it.
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity, and let me just say again, without the support of the city of Danville, these projects in today's economy just can't happen. Right. I mean, this is a true example of what a successful private partnership looks like.
Great. Thank you, Patrick. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hundreds of tornadoes have struck throughout the country. Homes destroyed. People in need. Lives devastated. Red Cross volunteers are on the ground, providing urgently needed food, shelter, and counseling to tornado victims. You can help. Click. Text. Call. Every single donation brings hope. Please, click, text, or call today.
Well, Mark, here we are in Unit 204. As you can see, we have heart pine bar tops right here, and these are throughout every unit in the project. This was lumber that was in the building already. We had to cut out and replace some of the floor joists, and we saved this lumber to use them on the bar tops everywhere we could. And as I mentioned earlier, that's one of the things that we typically do. If we have material that we might need to take out for some reason, if we can salvage it, we want to try to put it back in the building everywhere we can. As you can see, we have stainless steel appliances, stainless steel micro hood. We have a mosaic tile backsplash. We have our iPod docking station right here, so you can listen to your music from your iPhone or your Nano or whatever Apple product you may have. And I think I mentioned this earlier as well, but all these windows in here have been rebuilt. So these windows are built almost exactly as they were originally built, except we've gone back through, reglazed them, refinished them, reinstalled them, and rehung them. They're totally operational, very easy to open. I'll open up one right now. As you can see, Typically, old windows like this have been painted so many times that you oftentimes have difficulty getting them opened, but these all open up fairly easily. 1-inch steel blinds. And let's walk in to the bedroom. This is one of the bedrooms in this 2-bedroom unit. We have tile floors, cultured marble countertops. All the hardwood floors you see in here, most all the floor that you see in here was the original hardwoods that were here when we got here. We patched and repaired them as needed. And in some areas, you'll see a little variation in the flooring, and that's obviously it's clearly demarked what we've repaired and what was here before. As you can see, we have a fireplace mantle here. The second and third floors of this building, these fireplaces run all the way to the back of the building on both sides, as this was the primary way this building was heated. We considered the idea of trying to reinstall gas log fireplaces, and for purposes that I won't get into too much explanation of, it just wasn't going to work very well for what we were trying to do with the green aspects of this building. This building is as energy efficient as we could possibly have made it, which is one of the reasons that we're able to include all the utilities in the base rent that we're charging, is because we feel that we have a tight envelope here and that we are going to be as efficient as possible with responsible use by tenants. And here we are in the second bedroom of Unit 204. As you can see, there's a little different design here. We have a kind of a diagonal closet that we put in here, which has quite a bit of shelving throughout. Obviously, there's ceiling fan here, as there are in all the bedrooms. And as you can probably notice, the floor here is a little bit different, and the reason for that is the floor on my left, that was original to the building. This floor right here had been damaged by water and some other things. So this is actually old flooring that we took out of another project in another job, which I think was actually another state, and we transferred it up here and installed it here in the Ferrell building. As we make our way to another loft, I'd like to highlight another aspect of this project. This corridor that we're standing in was actually original to the building, and what we did is we fixed these doors right here in place. There's no handles, they don't go anywhere, and we blacked out the glass. But this door is sitting here much the same as it was in the 1880s when this building was first being occupied. And here we are in Unit 201, which is one of the townhouses that you enter into from the second floor of the building. As you can see, I've actually entered into the foyer, which is on the floors where the bedroom and main bathroom, full bathroom are. This is a 2-bedroom unit. As you can see, we left a little bit of a view here for people to be able to see what these floor joists actually look like when this building was built in the 1870s and 1880s, and just kind of framed it out. Obviously, that's all original lumber that was here since they constructed the project. This closet over here, as you can see, we didn't close it in, so we left this window so it could be part of this room and keep this room with the wonderful natural light that it has. As we walk over here, this is the other bedroom to this unit, which, as you can see, we have the fireplace mantle and fireplace still here. These fireplaces are not in use, but we still think they add a nice historically accurate architectural detail to the buildings, because, as I said, these fireplaces were originally used to heat the building. And here we are coming up the stairs from those bedrooms that we just exited, and now we're on the main living area for this unit. As you can see, all the amenities that the other units have. We have stainless steel appliances once again, heart of pine bar tops. These wonderful fireplace mantles are here, and as I'm sure you can notice, these extra high ceilings that we have here, those ceilings are about 13 and a half feet. Wonderful natural light on this corner unit. 3 big windows right here, 2 other big wonderful windows there, and we have a powder room right here in this living area. for convenience.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the City Update. Once again, we want to thank Patrick Riley for joining us on today's show, and again, congratulate them on the wonderful job that they did with the former Ferrell building and now the historic Ferell Lofts right here in the River District on Main Street. And of course, they've leased 4 of these already. They're going fast. So if you'd like more information on any of these lofts, feel free to call the number at the bottom of the screen. Susan Stillwell with Prudential Realty will be glad to show you any of the properties. Of course, the 2 lofts that we showed you today are still available, so if you like what you saw, feel free to give them a call. And once again, we're so excited about what's happening here in the River District. And of course, this project is just one of many that we look to complete as we revitalize here in the River District in the upcoming years. So until next week, have a great day.
First of all, to somebody that may not know about the downtown, I want to give a little bit of background on the downtown, and then I'll talk a little bit about the contractor that's been hired to do the work. The original Motor Inn was constructed somewhere in 1963. It had several tenant spaces in the lobby area, included a barbershop, a kitchen, a ballroom, a bank, nightclub, restaurant, and other different tenant spaces. It has 2 major elevators in it, and they're all interior elevators. Had a nightclub called the Black Horse Cellar, and anybody who lived in Danville for some time knows about the Black Horse Cellar and probably attended it sometimes at the Black Horse Cellar. The nightclub was in full swing until the 1980s. The penthouse was actually used for special events also, which was the rooftop. It had torches on top of it, a really nice looking setup back in its day. It was closed in 1986 and remained abandoned for the last 25 years. It was structurally sound building. It was made of concrete and reinforced steel. The footprint was about 117 by 186. It's located in the center of downtown Danville, historic. It's an 8-story building with a parking lot underneath, valet parking at the time. D.H. Griffin was the contractor that was selected. And a little bit about D.H. Griffin, they are a major demolition and asbestos removal company. They actually have 2 businesses within the same organization. One is asbestos and the other one is actual demolition. They've been in business since 1959. They have 15 offices throughout the state of Virginia, mostly in the southeast. There's 600 full-time employees. This particular building, the downtown, will be demolished through the Greensboro office. They have approximately 200 people, employees, full-time employees in the office at Greensboro. They are a Class A contractor licensed in Virginia. 2 phases. One was actually the demolition, and one is the asbestos removal. Phase 1 is already started, which is the asbestos removal. It's being handled by Chris Walker and Asalo. I can't say his last name, but he's the supervisor for the asbestos removal. I did tour the building today to get a handle on what's being done. They've done a lot of work inside. You cannot see it from the outside, and you probably will not see much of the asbestos removal from the outside. The building is being encapsulated, depressurized, filtered. They built showers in there for containment. They go through plastic curtains. They get to the asbestos areas, and once they get through, they come back through there. They disrobe down, dispose of their clothing, they take a shower, and then they get dressed. They do that every day. Every time they come out of a contaminated area, they have to go through that process. Once the air is filtered, it is probably cleaner than some of the air we actually breathe in now. That's how clean they clean it out. The guy in charge has been doing it for 20 years, and he has never had a citation from any of the asbestos or OSHA. What you can expect to see now, they're actually working in the mechanical room on the top floor and one floor down. They are still encapsulating the rooms. They have removed very little asbestos except what was spread about in the building during the last owner that had spread some asbestos around and doing some of the demolition on the interior. They will bring additional 8 people in next week, which will total 16 people, and they'll be in full swing next week removing asbestos. They'll take it to one common area, which they've cleaned up, and they would have it in bags. You actually will probably never see it unless you watch the site completely at all times. They'll bring a truck in, put it in the truck, and it'll be hauled away, taken to the proper landfill. They will remove all the interior walls out. They'll be breached so they can go through in and out each wall and be able to move freely. Some of the asbestos-containing materials in some of the sheetrock, floor tile. It is in some of the walls. It's also all the sprayed-on or popcorn ceiling in the whole building is asbestos, which we consider hot. The roof masking is asbestos also, and they'll be removing all of that. That should take approximately 30 to 45 days. Within the latter part of the asbestos removal, you'll start seeing the demolition crew start to move in. They will move in, set up their equipment. They'll have a large crawler or creeper, which you call a muncher. And they actually will take it down starting at the top, and it's just like a giant alligator. And it will reach out and grab the concrete, and it will just actually crush the concrete into pieces. And as it trickles down and piles up, then they would haul it off. They are going to move the crushed concrete probably to the Winston-Salem area, where they have an area where they will finer crush it, and it will probably be reused at some street or some other area, but they will reuse that. What you've probably seen already, they put up some fencing to protect the site, to make sure there's no one on site, and everybody's kept out from the site because of the asbestos. Some of the other things that will happen once the building comes down, we will be removing the transformer, which is under the ground, and sidewalk, and we'll be replacing above grade. The total project will run between 6 and 7 months.